Books, books. I like books. I'm gonna read them all.
Hi readers, Chris here. Welcome to my channel where I review fantasy, Stephen King, all sorts of books. And today I'm going to be talking about The Regulators by Richard Bachman, aka Stephen King. The Regulators is my 37th book in my Stephen King journey. In case you don't know, I am on a journey to read all of Stephen King's books, Richard Bachman included, by publication date. I started with Carrie and I'm up to The Regulators. The Regulators is a very interesting book because it's what's known as a companion novel to Desperation. So Desperation came out first under Stephen King's name, and then subsequently he ended up writing The Regulators under Richard Bachman's name. The same characters are in both books, and a lot of the same plot points are in both books, but they're completely different settings. In Desperation, the characters are taken to this abandoned mining town, and in The Regulators, the characters all live on this suburban street. In both books, you have this supernatural force that's kind of wreaking havoc, and it's just very interesting how they're so similar. I honestly don't know what drove him to write this. I haven't looked into it that deeply, but maybe someone in the comments section will let me know. So if you're not familiar with either, don't know anything about this story, The Regulators is basically a quiet suburban town. All these people live there, husbands, wives, children, and one day this van drives down the street and starts shooting everyone, starts killing all these people on the street. And it kind of starts there, and then of course the members of the street are freaking out. What's going on? Why are we getting shot at? And it turns out, of course, there's something supernatural at play. They kind of get stuck in this neighborhood, and they can't get out, and they're being terrorized, and they have to try to figure out how to escape. That's like a real simple, basic setup. But when it comes to The Regulators versus Desperation, I actually enjoyed The Regulators more, and here's why. First of all, when it comes to the world building setup, even though I did like, if you remember from my review on Desperation, which I will link above, I really liked the creepiness factor in that book, especially in the beginning. I loved the creepy cop and all that kind of stuff. And this also has the creepy factor, especially in the beginning, especially in this day and age, like the mental image of just this mysterious van and this faceless villain shooting up the neighborhood and actually killing children. It's horrifying. It's really horrifying. It goes beyond creepy. It's horrifying. So if you want to be horrified, definitely give this one a try. And then when it comes to the characters, again, they're same characters that are in Desperation are in here, but the characters are totally different. So Etrigan, Kali, who was the evil cop in Desperation, is kind of like a good guy in this book. He's a retired police officer in this book, and he's one of the heroes of the story, basically. So I liked seeing how these characters were in similar but different situations. I thought that was kind of fun. I don't know how I would have felt if I hadn't read Desperation first. I don't know how that would have impacted my enjoyment of this book. So even though I didn't like Desperation as much as The Regulators, I still kind of feel like you have to read that one first, but I could be wrong there. When it comes to the actual plot, here I feel kind of similar about both books. In Desperation, I thought that the plot, especially when it comes to the supernatural thing, was a little overbloated. It kind of went on a little bit too long and didn't 100% make sense. And I kind of felt similar here. It is more contained. It's not as expansive as it was in Desperation, but I still think I still think it's a bit convoluted. It doesn't 100% make a lot of sense, but I appreciate that it is slightly more contained. Desperation is almost 800 pages. This book is half that. It is half the length. So if you are someone who complains about Stephen King and how he needs editing and his books are way too long, definitely check out The Regulators because it is a much shorter book. Clearly you can tell it had much more editing and it's been shortened down to a respectable length, and I respect that about this book. Going to make this one a short one today, so just to wrap this up, I like the characters, I like the setting, wasn't 100% on board with the plot, but overall, I did enjoy The Regulators way more than Desperation, so if you're only going to read one of these, I would say definitely read this one. But if you do want to read both, I still think you should read Desperation first. But if you're only going to read one, The Regulators. That is all for my quick review today. So now Roscoe and I want to know, have you read The Regulators or Desperation? If you've read both, which one did you like better? If you haven't read both, that's okay. Let me know if you've read either one, what you liked, what you didn't. Let me know all your thoughts in the comments section below. And as always, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel for more book reviews and more furry friends coming your way soon. All right, everyone, happy reading. Thank you, Roscoe. Oh, that's so nice of you. Oh, you're such a good boy. You're such a good boy. Yes, thank you so much. Thank you, Roscoe. Thank you. Mwah. You done? Okay.